Hello and welcome to my Cramped kitchen, where this week we are going to be going a little bit European. I've come over all Rick Stein and have decided to try and recreate a dish I once had on holiday, because that seems to be pretty much what Rick Stein does. Last summer I went on holiday with my family and producer Ian. We went to Belgium. We went to the Belgian coast, stayed in De Haan, and we went to Bruges, and we went to a beer brewery in Bruges, and we had lots of wonderful things to eat. And one of those dishes we had to eat was Flemish stew, and producer Ian and I absolutely loved the dish. So I figured, why not try and recreate it? How hard can it be? And to do so, what I've done is I have enlisted the help of good old faithful here. It's probably just out of shot actually. It is the slow cooker. Here, lift him up so he's in shot. Look at that. My magnificent little beauty of a slow cooker. He's been around on previous episodes of my Cramped Kitchen and indeed my Movember menu. But he's back, and he's going to be seeing service for 24 hours. This is a dish that is best prepared well in advance. So far in advance, previously I've test run this before, and I left it to cook for 24 hours, and it was absolutely perfect. So that's what we're going to be doing again. We're going to be loading him up with some Flemish stew and leaving him to cook for 24 hours. But first, we've got to prep our ingredients. Behind me on the hob here, got a little casserole dish. In there currently we have some butter that is just melting away, and we're going to use that to quickly glaze off some onions, or one onion, because I have got back from a previous post here on Food Tribe one of the largest onions I have ever seen. I bought 3 last time I went grocery shopping, been slowly using them in dishes throughout the week, and this is the last of them left. And for scale, here it is next to my head. I'll come close to the camera so you can see. It's big. It's a big onion. I've got decent sized hands. Onion. Tell me it's a big onion, isn't it? Look at that. So we're going to cut this up. Cook him off in the butter in the pan, and then transfer onions to slow cooker. Then we're going to cook off some chunked beef in the same pan, transfer that to the slow cooker, and fill it all off with what makes this a proper Belgian stew. Belgian beer. The beer I have in question is this one. It is Leffe Brun. So Leffe basically do 2 flavours. Not flavours, strengths is the proper term. Over here on a shelf just off camera, I have the other sort of Leffe Blonde. The Blonde is the lighter of the 2 beers. It is 6.6%, whereas the Brun is actually 6.5%. It's not stronger, but it has a deeper, richer flavour, and that's what we're going to be using in our Flemish stew. We're going to be using a litre of it, so I've got a 75 bottle here and a second 75cl bottle over there on the table. Just put this back. But yes, it is the beer that we cook this in that makes this A, Flemish, and B, gives it its really unique flavour. A very sort of rich, almost smoky flavour that comes partly from a fair amount of butter that everything's cooked in. You've got to really make sure you scrape away at the fond to get that really nice sort of meaty, almost burnt flavour going into the dish. And then equally this sort of really rich body coming from the beer that we've got over there. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a little bit of seasoning that goes into it. We've got parsley and thyme. Got loads of thyme, we're in quarantine. But God, that was awful. So yeah, it's a really simple dish, very few ingredients, but it is absolutely fantastic. In fact, there's one ingredient that I would usually put into this, but I can't get hold of it at the moment. It's like a red currant syrup. If you think about, if you go to IKEA and you have the meatballs there, you get the like the loganberry jam that comes with it's loganberries, isn't it? The jam that comes with them. Really nice. That really adds to this dish. It gives it a slightly sweeter tang to it. But I couldn't find that in Tesco's. To be frankly honest with you, you can't get flour or eggs in Tesco's these days either. So trying to find loganberry jam was probably going to be a stretch too far. But anyway, that's what we're going to be making. That's the equipment and the ingredients. We've gone through those. We've got diced beef, onions, seasoning, butter, beer. That's pretty much it. Really simple dish, and we're just going to show you how to sort of assemble it, fry it off, and then we're going to leave it to cook away for 24 hours, so it's ready for dinner tomorrow, because it's Friday the 27th of March, and that's here on the calendar. And then tomorrow, where I have things that are crossed out. I was supposed to go into a sausage festival tomorrow. It's been cancelled. A sausage festival, the pork meaty kind, don't run away with your innuendos. Yeah, so Saturday, tomorrow, I'll come back to you guys with some dinner, hopefully. So let's get prepping. Okay, here we have it. It's finished. It's taken 24 hours, but dinner is served. And this is the Flemish stew. I'll just carry it around to the camera so you can see what we're talking about. There we go. So you've got this sort of really quite thick, almost sticky stew, and served with a giant snowball of mashed potato. Obviously, being Belgian, what you'd probably have with this, or what you do have with this typically, is a healthy portion of Belgian fries, because of course they're not French fries, they're Belgian fries. The name is actually a misnomer and comes from some American soldiers who were lost and thought they were in France when they discovered fries, but they were actually in Belgium, hence the reason why the Americans call them French fries. We call them chips because, well, it's a chip of potato and it doesn't have to worry about any confusing geography. That's besides the point. We're not allowed fries in halls, so mashed potato it was. Anyway, back to the Flemish stew. It's had its 24 hours in the slow cooker. It's been simmering away quite nicely with its herbs in there. It's 1 litre of Belgian beer and some browned off steak, stewing steak really. And then for the last 4 hours, what you have to do, or what I tend to do, is top it off with 2 slices of white bread, thickly layered with mustard side down in the pot. And then the mustard percolates almost like a coffee through the casserole, through the stew, giving it this nice sort of rich, heated flavour. And the bread breaks down, thickens up the sauce quite nicely, and gives you what you see before you. Paired with it, we have a beer. This one comes from Bruges itself. It comes from the Halfmoon, what's it called? Halfman Brewery in Bruges. They do a wonderful tour. I recommend going on it if you're ever in Bruges. This is their triple brewed one. So this has been effectively made quite strong. It's 9%. But all the stuff from the Half Moon is really, really nice beer. And that one there is no different. It's wonderful, really. It's a very typical Belgian beer. So it has a very strong initial palate that sort of comes from really lagering for quite a long time. This is an actual lager. They spend a long time in lagering tanks, and that's what gives them the really full body. Very gaseous, almost sort of pearlescent on the tongue in the way it sort of sits there, very fizzy. But this is served pretty much very cold. It's been in the fridge for 24 hours and then in the freezer for the last half hour, just to give it a really nice chill. But the beer, very good. Would recommend it. Really nice sunny afternoon beer, or if you're sort of just sitting at a cafe front in Bruges and fancy a drink, something from the Halfman, you can't go wrong. But let's see what the Flemish stew actually tastes like. Let's see if I've managed to accurately replicate, a la Rick Stein, the flavour of my summer holidays. Yeah. The one ingredient this is missing, and I think I mentioned it earlier on in the video, because this is 24 hours down the line, I can't remember what I said yesterday. You do want a sweet sort of berry jam to just put in there to give it a really sweet tang right at the start of the palate. That is what this is missing, because I can't get hold of like a Loganberry jam at the moment because panic buying and all sorts. But anyway, no, that tastes pretty much spot on. It doesn't have the same sweet kick courtesy of the lack of jam, but otherwise absolutely perfect. You can tell there's that little bit of thyme in there that comes through really delicately. The beef has held its flavour, courtesy of where it's sort of just browned off. It just traps a little bit of that flavour in there, so it has that sort of really mellow, meaty flavour to it. But then it's filled with that really rich flavour you get from the Leffe brun that this was cooked in. It's absolutely marvellous. It's almost a warming flavour. If you had this on a really cold winter's day, it would really hit the spot. And yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. And even though we started with some fairly cheap cuts of beef as well, because it spent 24 hours bubbling away in a sauce in a slow cooker, the beef just breaks down so easily for a really cheap cut. When you bite into it, it all sort of flakes apart wonderfully. Otherwise, there really isn't much to say to this. It is a very simple dish, bit time consuming but quite simple, and absolutely fantastic. Get a little bit of that heat come through from the mustard, about halfway through your mouthful. Just a little sort of warming tone come through the top of the palate. And then it's finished with that really nice sort of herb medley. Was it parsley we put in with this as well? I know there was thyme in there. And then it just finishes with a slightly beery aftertaste. You can really taste the hops that sit on the end of the palate really nicely. Like, the last thing you taste after a mouthful is the hops, and which reminds you that this is basically just beef cooked in beer even. But it's wonderful. Yeah. And of course, I'll put the recipe for this up on Food Tribe so you can go and follow it. The link for that will be in the description. So until next time from my Cramped Kitchen, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a beer.